Greetings. Welcome to the 2016 Black Sustainability Summit Q&A session with Atiba. I have Mama Nobantu on the line as well. She'll be assisting moderating the session, so we'll be sharing presentation roles and be communicating with you all. This presentation is on behalf of Africa House in St. Croix. And Mama Atiba will be going through a few slides. Give me 1 minute as I get them set up. Mama Atiba, would you introduce yourself?
Okay. Yes. Yes. Greetings. Alafia. My name is Atiba. Iya means mama, simply, and Ire means blessings, and Atiba means understanding. And I'm here. I will be presenting to you on Africa House, which is in the area of sustainable African education. And I have been an educator for 40 years, over 40 years, I guess is you add up the other time. Um, it's been over 40 years that I've been an educator. And Africa House, I have been involved with the precursor to Africa House. And I will speak to it and I will share what I know and you will share with me. So that I am presently in Florida, in the USA, the United Snakes of America, okay? And I am here, and I have been in education across the United States from the East Coast to the West Coast and in between, and building independent institutions and facilitating that. And so we will begin to talk about Africa House.
All right, Mama Atiba, can
Um,
you see the screen? Can you see the slides?
yeah, so is it moving? Yeah, okay, here it is. Okay, so what I was saying, it's sustainable African-centered education, Nubian Kemetic history, math, and science-based curriculum for ages 4 to 13. Okay, and this is on behalf of Africa House, which is Uta Yolanda Reed, which is a master teacher. She is my Jegna. She is who facilitated my growth and my understanding. And from children's space in California. And we also went to St. Croix. We were there together. And then she returned to California to teach on the university level and to take care of her mother. And now she has returned to St. Croix, and she is there, and I'm looking to join her. Okay, I was in St. Croix for 7 years. All right, following her. Okay, children's space is what I was telling you about, focuses on sustaining the physical and spiritual and mental, and it involves holistic instruction and lifestyle. Okay, it's all part of the context. It goes from the inside out. That's where true learning happens, from the inside out. So we start with learning about ourselves and then learn about our context, our African context. So it's children informed. It's informed, the teaching is informed by the students. So it's driven by the children. Instruction is connected to their context, how the child's mind develops, grows, and works, and the child grows by doing, and that's how we deal with it. It's everything is manipulated. Your math, your language, you manipulate them. You feel it, you touch it, you see it, and if you can, smell it and taste it with science and everything else. And it teaches focus on character building. That's not just facts. It's responsibility and accountability. Okay, that's what we do. And it's returning. to the way we came. And that's what that was my vision, is to follow how we got here, follow that back to Africa, or returning to Africa, or the Sankofa way. So from the United States to the Caribbean to Africa. Okay? And that's where we are planning and envisioning that connection. And it started at the end of the 70s, the early 80s, a group of families, parents, teachers, and youth. I came down from New Jersey, from the East Coast of California, and then it was already decided that the children needed to be in a place where they can build. We didn't want to send them to high school here in the States. So Uta, Mama, Sister, Warrior Uta, had made out, she struck out to go to another island, Maurice Bishop with Grenada, but because of that whole revolutionary, and they looked at her books and said, no, 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 no. They confiscated her books and told her she had to get on. So we reached out to follow that path and our return to Africa. And where we are is where we start. So we went to Virgin Islands, so we had to start with that culture and that history of Africans in the Virgin Islands. And we sought to learn that from the indigenous people that were there in the islands, and how they informed us of their culture, their context. And we learned together, and we broke it down so their children can also learn that in the best way that they can, which is a hands-on way. And St. Croix is an island, and it is it's a, I call it a neo-colonialist, because the United States is part of the United States. It's the U.S. Virgin Islands. It has a governor. It has a representative, but the representative, I still think now in the Congress, I don't know if they have a voting representation, but they are represented, and they are there in the United States. They have representation there in the United States with this island, the U.S. Virgin Islands.
Um,
So it was interesting. It was interesting, the relationship that we have, and how do we thrive under that kind of relationship.
um,
Okay?
I would like to interject for a moment, if you don't mind. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Having visited Africa House, I do know, that it's very seamless for those who are looking to visit. If you want to go and support, all you need is a passport, since it is still the United States property. You only need your driver's license. You don't need a passport to go there,
Right. Right.
in order to get there, which makes it quite accessible. And there's a high population of Afro Caribbeans that live there, that consistently help to reinforce what it is that Mama Uta has been building and working towards.
Yeah,
Um,
and it's exactly. And it's an opportunity to get out of the United States. It's physically out of the United States, so your it broadens you, because you are getting out of the United States, and it is a different experience from being and living in the United States. Okay,
I just want to
so
make
yes.
a comment about the passports. I hope this background information, ground noise is not too bad. I just heard recently that the le the legislations, or the government, is planning to require every citizen in the United States to have a passport. Has
Oh,
anybody heard
really?
that? Every person has a passport, and you cannot leave this country unless all your taxes are paid.
yes, that was signed into law. I saw that as well, and that also goes for outstanding student loans that you may have received from the government, because it would still be considered a debt that you owe to the federal government, and you will not be able to leave stateside to travel anywhere.
Oh well, I
Hmm.
guess I'm not gonna be traveling anytime
No,
soon.
but and that's why, ladies, that it's been said, get your passport, get your passport. So I'm interested in the fact that they are making sure everybody has a passport. That's really interesting. Uh, but the thing is, and then they have that other piece where they're blocking you from getting out. So
Very
plan and get yourself prepared. We've been saying it since the 70s, since the 60s, to get your passports and to be able to come out. Okay, but right now you could still get to St. Croix with your birth certificate and your driver's license.
very true.
Okay.
The last thing I'll interject, just a little history on St. Croix. I think the population is around 50,000. And I know that from my visit, of course, every place is pretty much chopped up into different segments. And I think, and forgive me if I have it incorrectly, this is just off of my memory, that St. Croix is divided into about 9 sub-districts, and Frederiksted is what's considered the black side of town. There are other districts as well, but as far as where I was staying, you pretty much have the polar opposites of Frederiksted and Christiansted. Christiansted being more of a wider area or a more affluent area, if
Business.
you will.
Yeah.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
okay, but go ahead, Mama Tiba. Excuse me.
Yes. No. 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 That's definitely right. And it's a definitely an experience in. It's a microcosm because it's an island. So there's a, you have different issues with establishing unity amongst and there are challenges with those subdivisions and divisions, okay, and it also is a different kind of context, but there are still those obstacles and hindrances to establishing unity amongst the people. And a lot of people come from other islands onto St. Croix and live there, okay? And so it is there is diversity, okay? Though it's a small place, it there is diversity, and there are those exercises in unity building. So it started, I see how it started, and we're going to talk about how it was on campus. We lived on campus in Compton, okay, where from Children's Space, because that's where it started. It started on campus. The children were able to live there, so they had a seamless. They could stay for the week, or they could eat over so you could stay over, sleep there. So we were able to be consistent with diet and all that we had to teach them in preparing for programs, doing homework, doing their packets. We called them packets. And so we could keep that consistent assistance and teaching going on all the way around in their whole experience. It was a holistic experience. We based on the diagram of opposites by George G.M. James, The Stolen Legacy, the 4 elements: fire, air, water, and earth, and that that was the paradigm used to set up the curriculum. So the curriculum was holistic also. So if you studied earth, you studied about earth transportation, you studied about earth, you would do body as far as anatomy because we're of the earth, so that would be the body. If you studied air, we studied air transportation, and in the anatomy we would study lungs, and that was about air. And we also picked a part of the world because we know that we are the mothers and fathers of the world, so everywhere we are the original indigenous people of this planet. So we taught that in the history and the geography that we taught to them. Okay, so the curriculum was a holistic, very interesting, progressive, visionary curriculum that we used, and it helped the child because it was holistic, everything connected to everything else. Okay?
All right. My screen went out for a brief moment. I'm pulling it up, but I'm going to also show a sample of what the curriculum looks like, because when I was there, I was
Okay.
just blown away. It was
Yes.
phenomenal. I've been trying to store them, and I know that Mama Uta does have them available for those who want to homeschool their children. She
Yes.
creates those packets. And you
Yes.
said that it's based on the diagram of opposites and stolen legacy. Um, but
Yes.
and it was also, I have the next slide up about the community informing the village.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yes. And so we start with education that leads to the larger project and practical application of what we are learning. So you go from the house and all our institutions. We The institutions do not stand alone. They stand within a context, and they stand within the context of our community. So our institutions, in order for our institutions to survive, the context, the community, the village, however you want to say it, must also be there. So it's a synergy where both inform and both drive each other. It's a reciprocity. It's about reciprocity. That's what it is. It's about reciprocity, which are attributes and characteristics of our way of being in the world. Okay, so that's how we come and present and offer ourselves to the community, and then the community then supports us as we support them. And we use our education, we use what we study, okay? We use all that we study to help the community, okay?
okay, Mama.
So there's no funding. We're totally, yes, go ahead, dear.
Um,
Go
I'm,
ahead.
I'm I'm just letting you know that I am turning the keyboard and mouse over to you. You should be able to advance the slides yourself as well.
I should be able to advance it?
Yes, by
Okay,
clicking.
okay.
If you move and you
By clicking?
mm-hmm,
Okay.
just click the slide,
Uh-huh.
and it
And
should
click it.
come over some more. There you are. Just stay in that area. You'll be able to.
Okay. And then I just push the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Select it, and you should be able to advance to the next slide. Next.
Uh, next.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. So now you have that. I know you were talking about the funding being 100% ours.
Yes. There's a difference. This is a little conversation that I'll have. There's a difference between independent education and charter education. Um, um, the way I was introduced to and was able to get in contact was through the Council of Independent Black Institutions, which was an organization that was started by my ancestor, with others, Baba Hannibal Afrika, and there were teacher trainings. And so we were able to meet each other and learn from each other and get together with each other. So there was strenuous learning and building and creating on the teachers' parts as well. So we created within that aspect. So we are an independent. So we don't take grants. We are supported by us. We are supported, and of course it takes more than tuitions. And what tuitions? All children are accepted. We don't turn anyone away, and we still need to grow, and we need to get supplies, and we are in that right now. So what we do is we reach out to the community. We become sustainable. That's why we call it a sustainable on that part too. We become sustainable. That is the word now. then it was independent. We become sustainable and sovereign. So teachers and students lived on the campus, which allowed for intensive meetings, collaboration. It was seamless. We were able to live it and eat it and just be about it all the time. There were hands-on activities because the child's brain is 90% kinesthetic. It learns by feeling and it learns by doing with their whole body. And so that's what we did. And so the curriculum addressed everything from the child's diet to their character to what they learned. It was not broken down and divided and compartmentalized like the other ways of doing things, like the Euro ways of doing things or the Yoruba way of doing things. This is an African way of doing things, which is a holistic way of doing things. You involve the whole. I got to change this. Okay, let me go to the next one, y'all. Bear with me. Oh, I'm not a millennial. Okay. So we embrace Swahili, a language that we used, and so that we can communicate, we can have a language that we had regular meetings, we had science fairs, and our CB also kept us inspired and kept the levels, they placed that where we needed to go, and we followed that as a group, as a national group. The Council of Independent Black Institutions is a national group, international group, okay? And so we can develop the best practices, our best practices, and children are involved, and that's what you want, involved wholly with critical thinking. Critical thinking begins with doing, okay? And that's how now the buzzword critical thinking, you got to do, you got to build. That involves critical thinking. And so that's what we did. Let me change this to the next one. So we wanted to instill in the children that they are Africans and how no matter where you come from, you're an African, okay? And how that was how we taught sovereignty and self-determination. Oh, this is based on the African diagram of opposites. And you see where you have the elements, you have the attributes, and from there we based our curriculum on that. And when you read, that's definitely a read. The diagram, Stolen Legacy by George G.M. James, and where he shows that all of that came from us. That education actually came from us, okay? So, and it shows you blood, phlegm, okay? Hot, cold, wet, dry. All right. And so here that you can find out and you can look into and study these diagram of opposites and what that means, what this paradigm, this ancient African paradigm, what it actually reflects with the 4 elements, the 4 qualities, okay, and the 8 equal pole stars. It's quite, so it's quite strenuous, and you must deal with that with the children, okay? And so the teachers are instructed because everybody's not taught that, you know? So we have to teach that also to the teachers, and it's most effective. That is most effective, okay? So like I told you, earth, you have transportation, you have the human body, and you have the growing of foods, you have water, then you talk about the island, you have to show how we need water, the benefit to the body and everything. And then I told you about the Council of Independent Institutions, and it was founded in 1972. It was founded in the 1970s, coming out of the struggles of the 50s and coming out of our struggles that the struggle that has always been there, our thriving, that has our extension, our reaching has been from our times, okay? And in 1972, it culminated in CB, okay, which included the families, it included the community, whether you had children in there or not. It contributed to the family, the teachers, and everyone was on an equal setting. It was to serve us all equitably, okay? There's equality and there's equitability, okay? So that is CB, which is a different kind of institution from charter schools. And this is their statement, okay? It defines African education as the means by which African culture, including the knowledge, the attitudes, values, and skills that are needed to perpetuate throughout the nation building, the critical thinking, the self-determination, the cooperative economics. It involves modeling and building a model that we can base on for our living, for our way of life. And that's what we sought to embody our children and to share that with them so that they can share that generationally, okay? And we are still on that, okay? It talks about spirituality. We definitely dealt with the spirituality also, because that's all part of who we are. We can't separate the spirituality, which is what they're trying to do now. Okay, so we do all of that, okay? All right, and then you may be able to read that. Let me go to the next one. Okay, come on out. Okay. Okay, excuse me. Sorry.
No, you good.
Children identification time. I had some children right here because I'm doing Kandazi right now. That's another African concept. Okay, let me stay this, and we can move this. So we are repairing ourselves. There's reparations that you seek, which is justice that we are due, and there's reparations that is internal to us. Okay, so we are repairing ourselves, our human rights. I ain't even go. Our human rights, being African. There is Kebuka, that we must not forget the Ma'afa, which is what we came. It's an African term for what we went through. Holocaust is not enough. It doesn't define what we survived and what we have come through. And the children need to know about that. There's Dr. Frances Wilson. We studied all the authors. We had an extensive reading list. And you must know about racism, not spare your children from knowing about racism. You got to know them, not only racism, but you have to know Ma'afa, not on the ship that came over here, but how it started from the actual kidnapping of us from our homes. And who did they kidnap? They didn't kidnap slaves. They kidnapped learned people, skilled artisans. They didn't just kidnap what arrived on that ship, what survived, when we fought our way all the way through. Okay? So we teach our children that. And we know that what the need is for repairing that, because it's in our DNA. We don't lose that, and then we wonder what's going on with us. And don't let me start going on with that. But that's why we must teach and so that we look from where the child is looking at their world, and that's the African worldview. We can't overlay a European worldview on our children, which is what the other education does. That is not acceptable. That is not enough to be liberated, to be sovereign, to be all that we can be. That's not enough for that. Okay? We need our worldview. We need the way we see things, and we do have a view. Here's a definition of ma'afa, which I kind of gave you, which I want to share, which was a term that was developed by Mama Marimba, okay? And Marimba Ani is another person that we studied extensively. And it tells about what happened. That Europeans, before the Europeans, it was the Arabs. We talk about that. We speak about that. And Kebuka is that word, which means remember, don't forget, because we are subjected to constant programming and brainwashing. So we must replace that. We must not replace it. We must maintain, sustain our view and what happened to us and our history. And it's important that the children at least be given a chance. And how do we do that? If we don't, there's such a thing as lying by omission, and we can't lie to our children. We can't. A future based on lies, we need to give them the truth of what happened. So, and our goal is to sustain African sovereignty, to combat the school to prison pipeline, the whole institutionalization. That's why we want to do our education. Most of our education is outdoors. Most of our education is extensive field study with our children, okay? Extensive. We're out in nature. You learn more outside of a classroom than you do, unless you make nature your classroom. You make your context your classroom. And we must deal with that context. We read a lot at Africa House. They read a lot because an avid reader, a library, our libraries, our books, a lot of them are going out of print. And Jegna Uta has an extensive library, extensive articles. It's also a library. It's a research. She has developed a research vehicle for us to use. Okay? And it gives accurate timelines, and it tells what's going on. And our history starts when? The beginning starts with us. There is no beginning. We are the beginning. So we have to teach that. Now, as much as they try to erase it, that's our responsibility to continue it. That's our responsibility to teach our children. So we assume our responsibility and take our responsibility seriously, because it's our responsibility to teach our children. It's our responsibility to remember. It's our responsibility to develop rituals, if we have to, about remembering who we are. And if we know who we are, then we know where we can go. And there will be no confusion. It will be clear. Okay? And like I said, charter school is not independent school. Okay? Charter school is not sovereignty. You're still answering to them, and they keeping it on to you. And you're beholding to them and not to us. We owe us. We are accountable to us only. Okay? Foremost, we are always, and you know that's not the way it is. Okay? And we must contain, like Amos Wilson says, it takes between the breakup in a family, it takes 7 generations. So you know. So we are moving. This is a generational journey. This is a DNA. We are changing the DNA. That's what we're doing. We're taking it to the next level. So it is an African-centered. So now you'll see slides of the different literature, the books. We created our own So the children they always had a lot of examples of who they look like. Okay, we didn't have blackened images of other people's. If we didn't have them, we made them. We found them. There's a library, a cultural resource center, a multimedia. There's a bookstore, library. Okay, tutorial services. You can read this curriculum development. All you need, because we are our children's first teachers. And so all of this has been done over 20 years, over 30 years. Jegna means a warrior scholar, okay? Has been at this for more years because she's my Jegna. So it's been more years than I have been, okay? So she
Mapacha,
has been on this. Yes,
Mapacha Mama Tiba, since I visited Africa House, do you mind if I interject for a few moments?
of course. Go right ahead.
I would like to share, and I feel a sneeze coming on, but I would like to share that Africa House it stands alone. She doesn't accept any funds. I know Mama TV, you've already gone
Mhm.
through
Mhm.
that, but she is accepting funds only from us. And we all know how much of a challenge that may be at times. But she has continued to persevere, and the resource center is absolutely phenomenal. It is extremely large. It blew my mind away. She's been managing it herself. How old is Mama Uta? 70? In her 70s,
Yes, she's
I
7
believe.
years older than
and
I
she
am.
and she
Uh-huh.
she is going strong. She is definitely a warrior. Jagna,
71.
I absolutely love her. Her library is immense. It ranges from your pre-K all the way up. I know that she really works with youth up until middle school age, but she's been managing even the community members of people that are coming in to help re-educate those who are interested in partnering with them as she is developing hands-on experience for the youth that want to go the entrepreneurship role or the entrepreneurship path,
Mhm.
which should be what they're going to, and not being taught to go work for somebody else. And she's partnered with them, and they're working. What was the place again, Mama Tiba, where she has them actually selling goods um, in the space of
Oh,
their fire.
stand up. Yeah,
Um,
which is the organization for Yucca M20, the
yes.
United Caribbean Association, which is another powerful brother down there. So because everybody has something. Wherever we go, there is that African-centered alignment there, and we definitely hooked into that. Yes, yes. Go
Um,
ahead, my dear.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
so I'm gonna make it quick. I know we're coming up on 15 minutes. I'm gonna go through this
Okay.
really quickly, and I'm gonna open it up for questions. Raise your hand if you want your mic
One
unmute.
more thing.
Uh-huh.
Okay, one more thing. Not only is it for preschool, that's university level.
Oh,
Okay, definitely university level. Whoever wants to learn, that's university level library, and she would be able to teach you, take you through all of that. Okay, go ahead, my dear.
don't you know it? Yeah, I was in love.
Hmm.
I'm an avid reader, and I absolutely loved her. Um,
Yes,
her
yes.
library. I was taking pictures, but okay, back to the back to it. She has Crucian storytellers. They have crafts, spoken word,
Mm,
sewing art classes for the young ladies. They put on shows. They actually are introducing theater now. There's a young sister who just relocated down there from California who's helping Mama Uta, and I am looking to go back to help her out on the ground. But here's a curriculum
me
example or
too.
sample for those of you who have children that would be interested in. There's the fire truck. Thank you for interrupting. Um, there's a curriculum example here or sample that I took a picture of and uploaded on here, so you could kind of get an idea. And it's broken down um, across the months and for your weeks as far as what she suggests that you cover, and everything is
Hmm.
included. And you have free range to really go through with your child. The curriculum. Here's an example of the electricity one. So she breaks it down. Everything is
Mm.
written by hand. She has, oh, it's phenomenal. When you
Right. We
actually,
had a textbook. Can I
oh,
interject? Because this
oh,
bring back memories,
yes.
okay? Each teacher had a big three binder, thick folder about with everything. Not a folder, a three binder, loose leaf holding, and we had to write out. you know, and it was like you started out with a subject and you eclectically you thought about all the areas. You see all the areas, okay? That's you see all the math, the science, everything is connected. Yeah,
And
yeah.
she leads each one. And I would, I think I heard you earlier mention about Kiswahili as being the language. The young ladies, when I visited, that's what they were speaking during their session. And they are from, they're Crucians, but they were speaking in Kiswahili and having a conversation. And I just thought that was phenomenal. But she still went over other foreign languages because, like you said, we are across the diaspora. So they're learning Spanish that you can see down here in the foreign language section. It's not so
Hmm.
that we are just simply, you know, universal. It's so that we can communicate with our brothers and sisters no matter where they are. And
That's right, because there's black people that were oppressed by Spain that speak Spanish, and we want to be able to communicate with those black people and understand them. Yeah.
here's a picture of Liberty Hall. It's a multi-purpose space for meetings, homework, research, reading, and homeschooling. It's a place to gather. On the right-hand side, you'll see just a very, very short snippet of the books that she has in the home.
Oh, yeah, minimal.
As
Yeah,
you
the
as you
bottom three
walk
rows.
through, yeah, as you walk through the halls, it's our story, and down every single hallway you'll see history. So there you will never be out of balance
Look
as
at the
far as
decor. You
yes.
see it? It's all
Yeah,
African.
beautiful.
And Marcus Garvey
Everywhere you
is
look.
right there as soon as you enter the door.
Oh,
So
yeah.
there's no question about where you are and whose space it is.
That's right.
Here's a hut room that she designed. This structure in the background was actually constructed there. It's for the younger children, and they come in and they are exploring and they're learning. And the goal is to have the older children come in and work with the younger children so that they can have a
Mm-hmm.
peer-to-peer learning experience. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
Mm-hmm.
I'm zooming through, but I do want to take
That's
questions.
Kendesi. That's Dr. Fukien, Dr. Bunseki Fukien. This was well researched and practiced. Okay?
All right, here's the Kemet room. This is upstairs. This is a room where visitors have an opportunity to sleep, like myself, um, when visiting and actually doing some work. I was not there on a vacation. I was there to actually help and assist and work with Mama Uta, and she is so open and receiving of anybody who is there to actually come and do work. I won't open her home, but she does have Africa House, and would love to encourage anybody who's interested, who wants to just simply support. Send $5, $10. She has these ink pens that are in the shape of Africa. She has curriculum if you'd like to purchase something that would you could be able to implement, even if your child is going to public school. This is something that you can
Mm.
learn yourself while
That's
teaching
right.
your child. So I would definitely encourage getting her curriculum, and letting her know specifically what it is you want to work with your child on, because it won't be a cookie cutter method. Mama Uta definitely works with each child individually to make sure that you have what you need to support your children and that you are educated so you can do your best job.
Yes, this is
Yes.
Rommel Abantu. I'd like to
Mm-hmm.
chime in. In my
Yeah.
school back in California, we use that curriculum, and it's a curriculum that needs to be digitalized. And I spoke with Baba Akinlele not too long ago and asked him about students who are interested in curriculum that could come together and probably go and visit and put this curriculum in a digital format so it can be used.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think it's the best curriculum I've ever seen
Mm,
because
Mm-hmm.
you can take that curriculum without any textbook and teach everything our children
yes.
needs to
Hand,
know.
Without a computer or anything. I mean, you could
Exactly.
use a computer, but
Well, I mean, I had a bunch of encyclopedias back in the day, and that's what we use,
right,
when we
right.
need to look up
And
something.
she's done a lot of the research.
I
She's
know
is
she's done a
already in
lot.
her already in her packets. Okay,
My,
go ahead.
Melinda back in Oakland, when I go back, she always talks about
Mm,
Mama Uta.
I
And I have
remember her.
never met her
Hmm.
personally, but I feel like I know her because I've heard so much about her and I've gotten a lot of the curriculum. And that page that you showed, I have a page just like that with all the little stuff in it.
oh yeah.
Okay,
I've
okay.
I've got a
That's
lot.
right.
I've got all of her curriculum. I'm supposed to be digitizing it, but then the Black Sustainability Summit came about, and we haven't.
What we're gonna do it.
So
because
I actually have
We need,
copies
we
and
need to
trying to get
talk
it
some more.
set up.
We need to
yeah,
talk.
yeah.
But
So I know Linda from California, and then I followed her to St. Croix. So I
Mhm.
remember all of this. So please reach in. This is a way to. This is a prescription. This is how
That's
you
it.
heal us
That's
with
it.
your donation to the Africa House. This is healing internal, our self-determining reparations. And donate. Come see, come visit. You go everywhere to wherever you go. Go to that island. Go to St. Croix. You got the water. It's beautiful, beautiful. Okay, and you can also help and extend and learn and be helped. Okay, go ahead, my dear.
So that was it. Pretty much just please send any donations. If it's $5, anything helps. I send I send what I can, and it's not necessarily financial because I'm working on myself. But when I'm in a store or I see construction paper on sale that is dark brown and different shades of brown, I know that she does not have access to. Oh, she was.
We
Let me
were
tell you,
always looking
all these
for
different shades
brown
of brown.
paper.
She's like, oh, we're gonna have another project so they can create something that looks like us instead of having to color it in with the crayons. Or sending in something
Hmm.
for science classes. It's very limited resources. The largest store that they have down there is a Kmart. And the Kmart is in nowhere near as extensive as the Kmarts that we find here, and we already know what Kmarts offer. So
Yeah.
if you can't send funds or be consistent with that, if you have something that's unopened or unused that you would like to share and gift to her, in addition to any financial support, I know that she would be extremely grateful. Her PO box is listed here. You can send it. There won't be any extra charges associated because it's still going to the
Hmm.
United States. I send her stuff is all the time, even just words of encouragement. And she consistently sends me things back about programs and processes. So if you're interested, reach out to her or reach out to Black Sustainability Summit, and we will put you in contact with Mama Uta Reed. Aluta continua, the struggle continues. Lisi Matush, Indi Mboshaka. Asante Sana,
And
thank you in
we,
advance for your love and support. Go ahead, Mama Tiba.
because we are winning. We
Yes.
are winning. You understand? This is how we win. Okay? All right. Sustainability to sovereignty.
Ashe,
Ashe.
ashe, ashe. Oh,
Ashe.
thank you,
Does
Mama
anybody have
Tika.
any questions?
Please, if anybody's listening, yeah.
Let's see. Go ahead and raise your hand. Let us know if there's anything that you would like to contribute. I will go through and unmute the microphones. I'll start with Abu Bakar Kareem. If you have something you'd like to contribute, brother, your line is open.
Yeah, I'd like to congratulate the sisters for being able to display a great project in St. Croix. Um, I spent
Can
about
you keep your
17
volume?
years in St. Croix, from about
Mm.
72 to about 83, and I haven't been
Oh,
there
wow.
since 91. Improvement in terms of availability of housing and the, the cost in relation to what it costs to live here on the mainland.
You were asking about understanding the cost of the difference in cost.
Yeah, yeah. The When I was there back in the 70s and 80s, um, there was a change. It seemed over the years where it became terribly expensive to live there in terms of
Mm-hmm.
cost. And I'm wondering whether there's been any changes because a lot of the resources and things that were available to purchase food, clothing, and other things, if you weren't going on your own, were much higher than they were if you lived here in the United States. I grew a lot of my own food, but the things that I was not able to grow myself. If I had to go to the store to buy them, they were terribly expensive, and I'm wondering whether any of that's changed, especially healthy products.
May I speak to that?
Yes.
Yes, please.
And I believe we sound like we were down there around the same time. Now it is expensive because it's an island. It is colonialism we're dealing with. Let's keep that real, okay? Now, so the thing is that living sustainably is how you would survive there, okay? So like you said, growing your food. There are people that design and make clothing. I know one thing that we did was the Tree of Life. We would get together and order what we needed to order. So it would be cooperatives, and we would have to function like that. We would definitely have to be a community, and we would definitely have to do cooperative economics because it is the cost of living and living down there on an island where most of the things are coming from the United States, okay, it does get to be costly that way. A lot more Europeans are there also, okay. They regentrifying the St. Croix, okay. But where are the people going to go? They're from there. The indigenous people there are there. So, answer to your question, that's why this is on the Sustainability Summit, because to live and to survive and to thrive, that is the answer, is to be in communities, in sustainable communities. And one of the ways is when we were there, we did that. We had to buy cooperatively and buy in groups and have groups. So I hope that answers some of your question, but it's the same thing we're dealing with here, and even a little bit worse. So you would have to have those strategies in place. Okay.
Yeah. Can I just add one comment?
Mhm.
Um, as I recall, um, we first moved to St. Croix because we were looking for an opportunity. That is my family. We were looking for an opportunity to live somewhere outside of the United States where it was a lot of black folks. So that was the
Yes.
reason why we went to learn what that experience would be. And one of the things I observed was that it it was pretty easy to take a small ship and travel throughout the Caribbean with little or no inconvenience in terms of where you could, take your boat and where you could go. And so that
Mm.
experience of being able to travel from one country to another country, of course these are islands, so it's a lot
Mhm.
smaller, was something that I think about today in terms of our ability to be able to travel and carry goods and people where we
Mm.
want, when we want. So it's one of the things I constantly dream about is black folks having a mode of shipping transportation where we can
Mm.
not only move around from island to island, but also from this continent to the mother continent.
And that is, and to facilitate that, there is, since we have been down there, there is a union of those Caribbean islands, and they're building for that purpose, so that they'll be able to trade and move and make some entrepreneurial, self-determining collective moves. So that had been starting, and that is continuing to move forward. So that's something that it would be broader, because it's if you isolate yourself to one island as opposed to more islands, exactly, you would be able to benefit more of us, and more of us would be benefited by that. It would drive the prices down. Okay.
Oh,
And
that's
basically when we're growing it, these are
yeah.
things that we can grow there, you know?
That sounds so beautiful. It just came to mind. And wouldn't that be a wonderful additional course to a curriculum? You know, to
Mm,
teach the young ones what they can do and how they can at least start island hopping with smaller
mm-hmm.
boats, taking stuff back and forth, trading, doing commerce, and then beginning to build, a microsystem of our own. Thank you.
Right, right. Thank you.
Hmm.
That's a healthy vision. That's
That's a
definitely
good
a healthy
tool.
vision. And shipping, and of course, why not? We should be. Yes, definitely, definitely, definitely.
Tell
Uh-huh.
me when you're ready. I spent a lot of years on the sea in the Navy. I'm wishing to return back to the islands one day, and maybe that'd be something I could work with.
Okay, definitely. Please share your
Hmm.
information with us, okay? Like some kind of way, right? Raina, people
Okay.
can.
Yes, you can email Black Sustainability Summit at gmail.com. Mama Nobantu, if you're on the computer, would you type that into the chat and send to all? Again, it's Black BLACK Sustainability Summit at gmail.com, and we will definitely stay in touch with you. We're looking to make sure that we can connect everyone from around the globe, those who are looking to travel, those who are looking to travel within the United States and outside of the geographical space that's here, making sure that we stay connected. So please email me, and
And
it will email all of us.
and those are skills. And if you don't hear something, we're doing all kinds of things. Please sustain and keep pushing us and keep reaching out, okay? Because we will be on that. And say your name again, please.
Abubakar Kareem.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And I am Atiba. Okay. Thank you so much. Wow,
Thank
that's
you.
exciting.
All right. Let's see. Are there any more questions before we close out? Arlene typed in awesome presentation. I'm so excited and inspired. We'll definitely contact Mama Uta for curriculum as well as make a donation. Oh, give thanks. Thank you so much for this summit. All right.
Uh-oh. Okay. Okay. Well, that is what we are looking forward to support each other and to support ourselves. And supporting each other, we support ourselves. And so we're looking for skills and focus and intention and however, because we must continue to sustain so that we can sustain and be sovereign. Sustainability to sovereignty. Okay? And
Very
we can. Things have changed and we must change and grow and see those different opportunities. And thank you. And we're such a resourceful people. We are the mothers and fathers. We are the genius. Okay? There ain't nothing that we cannot. There is nothing, okay, that we cannot do.
I
And we
say,
are winning.
I say.
good. Well, thank
Yeah,
you
I've gotten
for tuning in.
gotten really
We're going to
excited.
close out the presentation. I'm up here multitasking, so I apologize for the noise in the background.
Do not
Um,
apologize. That's what we do.
This presentation will be posted up on the web. Give me about 15 minutes and you will be able to go back through and rewatch it, as well as the other presentations that have gone on today. Earlier this morning, we started very early with Naomi Davis, then Samora Sobukwe Sodaye got on, and now we have Mama Atiba here with us. We'll be having other presentations later on throughout the day, and Mama Nobantu will be your moderator. If you have any further questions, you all know how to reach us. Thank you so much. I give thanks for everybody tuning in. And
Asante Sana.
thank you, Mama Atiba. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Madasi Pa.
Yes, Madasi Pa Pa Pa. Yes, yes. Give thanks.
All right.
All right, peace, love, and light.
Hmm